Hello and welcome back to the Autodesk Inventor series and tutorials. The last two videos we focused on making a couple of parts like cubes and rectangles and spheres and cylinders. Today we're going to be putting that all together in IAM files or assemblies and attachments. So let's go and get into it. So first of all, what is assemblies and attachments? So assembly right here, essentially what you do is you put multiple different parts together. So when we create spheres or rectangles and we put them together into a finished product. So for example, right here I have a children's toy, just some simple ABC building blocks. And these are put together in an IAM file. And essentially what happens after this is I send this off to the manufacturer. I'm like, okay, this is the final product that we want. And there's a couple advantages about this. Let's say we're building a chair. I don't want to design a chair in just the whole chair in a part. Chairs have multiple different steps and they're put together in a way that needs to be understood by either the manufacturer or the person that's building the chair. So chairs have legs, they have the bench where people sit, and then they also have the backrest. So I want to build those into three separate parts. So I have legs, just a cylinder of legs, and then I have the stool where people sit, and then I also have the backrest, and I'm going to build them in three separate parts and then put them together in an assembly like this. Just like when you're building furniture in IKEA, all of those little parts have been designed in a part and then put together later. So let's go ahead and jump in. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and hit assembly. And then we can see over here that the menu looks a little bit different. So we can come back over here to part. We can see 3D model, sketch, annotate. But when we come over here, we see assemble, design, 3D model, sketch, annotate. So the 3D model stuff is over here, but I would really highly encourage you not to build things in here. I would really encourage you to build it in parts and then put them together over here. So how do we, first of all, how do we put parts down? So we're going to come over here to place. We're going to click this and it's going to pull up all of your files that you have. So we're going to put down an A block. So we're going to open, zoom out a little bit, click, and it'll create an A block, and I can put down as many of these as I want, and I can move them to my desired location. So let's say like that. And to get rid of this is just hit escape and come back up here, place, B block, open, escape, same thing, C block, open, escape. To get rid of some of these elements, we can just right click and hit delete. Great, now let's start off with something simple. Now the first rule that I would advise is that I want a starting point. So I'm going to say my A is my starting point if I want just ABC straight across, the letters facing up. So I'm going to say A is my starting point. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit grounded. Now what this does is it prevents A from moving at all. So you can see I'm dragging this as hard as I can and it won't move. B, I can still move this freely, C as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about, okay, well how do I put these together? And I look at my tools up here, I'm like, okay, constraint seems like a nice one. So there's multiple different types of constraints. There are mate, there's angle, tangent, insert, and symmetry. We're going to talk about two of them today. We're going to talk about insert and we're going to talk about mate. And the most commonly used one for me is mate. So we're going to use this, and even within this category there's two subcategories. There's mate and there's flush. So mate essentially is putting things together. So my hands are mated together right now. And flush essentially is like this. So my hands are flush against each other right now. They're completely aligned with each other. They're flush. So first of all, I'm going to go, okay, well, first of all, I want this surface of B together with this surface of A. So I'm going to come over here and hit constraint. I'm going to click this surface, it highlights it. Come over here, hit B, and there we go. Now these surfaces are together. Hit apply and we'll see what happens when I move B. So far, it still looks like I can move that around freely, but trust me, the surfaces are together despite what it may seem. Next, I want this surface to be flush with this surface. Now you can see they are flush together, they are against each other. Hit apply and let's see what happens now. So now I can only move this up and down. I can drag my mouse left to right and nothing will happen. It's just going to go up and down and up and down. The last part is I want these surfaces to be flush against each other. Now there's two ways I can do this. The first one is by using the flush tool. So I can come down here, I can go this surface to this surface, or I can go, let's see, once again, flush, this surface to this surface, or what I can also do is, and this is a pretty useful tool, I can go line by line. So let's say I can use the mate tool and I can go mate this and this line like that. So now the lines are mated together, which makes them flush. Hit apply, same kind of deal for this one. Hit this, there we go. Apply, we're going to hit flush. These two are going to be flush against each other, perfect. And then I also want this surface to be flush against with this surface. Apply. And there we go. We have our ABC blocks simple. Next, we want something like this, where I want things to be stacked on top of each other like this, but I also want the blocks to be faced a little different. So it's going to be angled 90 degrees towards us, the user, when I look at it from this side right here. It's a little lopsided, but that's okay. As long as the person that's making this can see what you're talking about, you should be fine. So let's go ahead and hit place. A block, go in here and B block, and hit C block. So we're going to hit, I'm going to warn you that it will take a very, 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 very long time if you try and use Constraint to angle things the way that you want it to. And it's because the computer really just, it doesn't really like to follow directions extremely well, and it can be very finicky, even for people that are a little bit more advanced. So instead, what we can use is, there's another tool over here, free rotate, unconstrained rotation of an individual component. So I can come over here, and I want my A and B blocks to be, I want all three blocks to be facing towards me. So I'm going to go over here and hit A. I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees, kind of 90 degrees down. Whoops. I guess it'll take a while for me to figure this one out. Like this. Okay, that's pretty good. So A is angled down towards me, and I want B angled down towards me as well. Same thing with C. Come down here. Kind of mess with that, like so. Okay, hit escape. Now what I want is, I want to constrain once again this surface with this surface. So now those are together. Then I want this surface, I actually want this surface to be flush with this surface. Same thing with these two up here. Hit apply. See, that looks even more wonky. Now, I want C to go on top. So there's a couple of ways, once again, that we can do this. We're going to come first. I'm going to come down here, hit this, and attach it to just one of these. That's not right. Hit cancel. I want the lower lip of this line, so right here, to go right here with this. There we go. Hit apply. Next, I want this to be mated with this surface, like so. So order kind of does matter, but you can always delete the ones that you want. Hit apply. And then I want this in the center. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to go flush these two together and then offset this by 2 inches. Now these blocks are 4 by 4, so I'm going to offset by 2 inches. Hit apply. And there we go, kind of a little recreation of this. It doesn't look the prettiest, but it works. So, and that's exactly what we want. And I think if we cannot do anything about that. Just Control Z, and that'll be flush against each other. And this whole part can move around since we grounded A. Now notice what happens if let's see, actually, I didn't even ground any of these. So if I ground A, the object won't move, just like up here. if we unground A, if we unground, I think I ground, which one did I ground? If I unground A, then the object can move together. Now it's still moving together because I constrained all of the other elements. If I got rid of the constraints, it would fall apart. So let's look at a different way of using the Constraint tool. Now we have here a block even with two holes here and then a nail that fits inside of that. Come back here. Actually, we can use the same assembly is fine. So we name that brick with holes. Come down here, brick with holes. Go ahead and place that, and then we're going to place two nails down. Come down here to N, nails. There we go. 1, 2. Now there's a couple ways to get these nails inside of these holes. So I'm going to come up here, hit Constrained. I can use the Mate tool, or I can also use this Insert tool. So first we're going to do the Mate tool. So first of all, you can see here that it kind of creates a little radius thing. It recognizes that it's round. So we're going to come over here. There we go. Once again, another radius thing. So we're going to hit that. It slides right in. So apply. Once again, the radius and the little center line. There we are. Hit apply. But notice that these, we're going to ground this. I apologize. We're going to ground this, and then notice that this can still slide through. Now I put this on top, this little ledge thing on top, just to say that, okay, well, if that's going to slide through, that's impossible because this lower half will stop. I mean, it's not big enough to go through, so this is impossible. So how are we going to do that? We're going to come down here. I'm going to locate the surface, if I can find the surface. It's been a little bit finicky today. Come down here, and we're going to use the Mate tool because we're going to mate this surface. We're going to mate that surface with this. Hit apply, and now that is completely stuck inside. Same thing with this. You know what? We'll just ground this for time's sake. Yeah, now this thing won't be able to move. But we can also do it a different way. So we're going to come down here, brick with holes. And then we're going to use the two nails once again. Open. And I'm going to place 4 down. And you'll see why in a minute. So we're going to use Constrain the Insert tool. Now, once again, you'll see a couple of different, it looks like there's 3 different kinds. So first we're going to try out this one. This and this. Okay. Hit apply. We're going to come over here, this and this. So what that does is, we're going to hit apply now. If I ground this, unlike up here where I just put them together, I could still move this up here. If I unground this, I can still move this up and down and up and down. But when I use the Insert tool, I can no longer move this. That is as good as it is in there. And this is because I said that I wanted to use the bottom half. So the bottom is now constrained to that hole. But visually that's not, I mean, I can see, okay, that's going to fit inside, but that's not really what we want. So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to delete this nail, and we're also going to delete this nail. And we're going to use these 2 other nails over here. We're going to use Constraint, Insert, and come back here, and we're going to go from the top. So we want the top to be inserted down with the surface of that. So we're going to come over here, hit that, and boom. Now our nail goes inside. Hit apply, and you can see that there are 3 different kinds, but if I use this, since it's also at the top, it's going to go in just the same like that. So that's all for the first little introduction for assemblies and attachments. And for next time, we're going to be discussing threads and patterns and edges.